Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nation here, back again with another video. Hopefully you watched my first video of finding out that I was pregnant and what I did to track my ovulation to try to conceive. And now we are in part 2, where I share with you months 1 through 4, pregnancy symptoms, what I went through, and just sharing my experience with you all. I found out I was pregnant super duper early, and I really didn't have many symptoms when I got my positive test. So it wasn't until around week 5 where I started to feel different. I was like, okay, you pregnant. And I have some notes here on a sheet of paper so that I don't lose track. But it all kind of like came at once. It was like, boom, you pregnant. So the things that I experienced during week 5 was mild cramps. Now, by mild cramps, they were like enough for me to notice them, but not enough for me to have to like take any medicine or be really worried about it. I think that was just my stomach just starting to stretch and grow and do what it does, but it wasn't really bad. It was very, very mild. Also, I had a crap ton of bloating. Like, I was so amazed. My stomach looked so big. I really thought I had like a baby bump, even though the baby probably wasn't even the size of this. Like, my stomach was so bloated. I felt so full, but I was so hungry. It was the weirdest thing. Like, yeah, you know what you look like after you eat a full meal. That's how I looked on an empty stomach, and I was hungry. And then also, I had insomnia. Like, I legit could not sleep. I think it was just my mind was just constantly racing. I was so excited. I couldn't turn it off. I was just up and could not sleep. So I found myself like going downstairs a lot, watching TV in the middle of the night, trying to sleep on the couch. Sleeping in the bed, it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't. I could not sleep. And then I also had boob soreness. My boobs hurt so bad. And if you watch my last video, y'all know that I referenced this supernatural childbirth book. And like, God was showing out. Like, I asked that I would get pregnant on the first try. I got pregnant on the first try. I asked that I would have 0 morning sickness. I had 0 morning sickness. I asked that I would not have sore boobs. I ain't get that. It hit me so hard week 5. I could not touch them. Literally. And like when I took my bra off at the end of the day, it was like, oh my gosh, why is it so tender and painful? And that lasted a while. It has gone down since I hit my second trimester tremendously. But the entire first trimester, it was like, yeah, don't touch my boobs. Don't brush against my boobs. Don't do nothing. Like, they hurt. Also, for week 5, I felt little twinges in my stomach. So by twinge, I mean it was like a little like electric zip in my stomach. And that's just, I think it was just my stomach growing. Like, it was a lot happening and my stuff was moving around. But like I said, it wasn't painful like the cramps. It wasn't anything that I was really worried about. It happened every now and then. It wasn't like an occurring thing. Week 6, I had all of those symptoms, but also the new symptoms that I experienced was I started getting acne. Now, you can kind of see it. I'm still dealing with acne on my body. Not really too bad on my face, but on my body, I was getting pimples all over my chest, my neck, my back, my shoulders. I was getting acne everywhere except really bad on my face, which I thank God for. I'd rather be on my chest than everywhere else but my face. So thank you, Jesus. But yeah, it was like legit pimples. It was like bad. And like I said, I'm still dealing with it on my chest, just not as bad as I was during my first trimester. But yeah, it was like as soon as I hit week 6, boom, something else. And then to add on to my boob soreness, I was out of the bras like that I was wearing. My boobs had grown already. And if you know me, you know I'm already busty. And so the fact that they have gotten even bigger, I'm just like, Lord, please at least let me be able to breastfeed and put these babies to use, because they are just too big for no reason. So yeah, I had to start going shopping for bigger bras because they were just not fitting. One other thing was I started having diarrhea, and honestly that came and went throughout, for real, my entire pregnancy. I guess now to the point is where just like certain things that I eat cause me to have it. But yeah, I started experiencing diarrhea week 6. Week 7 and week 8 was pretty chill. Honestly, I said that the only symptoms that I had for those weeks was that my boobs were sore, I was hungrier, and I still dealt with the acne. So some of the things went away, other things just stayed, but those were the 3 things that I noticed the most. Week 7 and 8 was pretty chill. And then week 9, I started to have some new symptoms. So I became extremely gassy. Like, extremely gassy, farting all the time, rubbles in my stomach all the time. And so I really had to pick up my water intake. I was like, this is not gonna work. And then I also was in like a funk for that week, and I don't know why that was, but that week I didn't really feel good. I just wanted to lay in the bed and just wasn't very positive. And it was nothing that caused it. It wasn't like I had any bad news or anything like that. I just put in a funk. I was just in a funk. Thank God that was the one and only time that I experienced that in my pregnancy. But yeah. And then I also had boob shape changes. So I noticed that the shape of my boob went from being less round to more, I don't want to say pointy, but less round. And my husband noticed it. I noticed it. It's just crazy how much your body changes so soon. Going on to week 10, I was a little less hungry, so I found that my appetite wasn't as high as it was because I was really hungry. But week 10, I found myself going longer time span without eating. And then I felt that my stomach started to get a little hard. So it wasn't like as flubbery as it was. Like, it felt different. It felt like more, it just felt harder. And now that I have like a real belly, yes, it's hard. So that was the start of that. I also got a stuffy nose week 10. And I think that was the only week that I experienced that, but it was just so annoying. I couldn't breathe going to sleep. And that's really when it hit me the worst, was when I was about to lay down to go to sleep. My nose was so stuffy. So stuffy. And then also for week 10, I started to get that dark line on my stomach. I forget what you call it, but that's when it popped up. Week 11, I started to experience lightning crotch. And that has come since then, but it's very, very sporadic. So basically, it's like a electric zit in your vagina. I don't know what causes it. I don't know what it is, but that was happening week 11. And then also I started to notice that my belly button started to come out a little bit of my stomach. So I usually have an innie slash, I don't, it's like not all the way in, but it's not out. So you can still see it, but it's not like one of those super hidden belly buttons. But now it's starting to look like an outie at week 11. Week 12, the only thing that I wrote was that I was starting to have more discharge, more vaginal discharge. And it wasn't anything that was like really extreme. I just noticed it was more than what I had been producing. Week 13, I wrote that I was having some indigestion. And that, oh, she's kicking me now, y'all. Ooh. That still comes and goes. That is just the feeling of like your food is just stuck like right here. So I actually had that today. I kept having to drink water earlier because I'm like, why is my food just not going down? So I had that week 13. And really no other symptoms. Week 14, the stuffy nose came back. And that was really it. Like, y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all, God is so good. My pregnancy has been so smooth so far. Like, I'm like, why is this so, like, little? But God is so good. So yeah, stuffy nose, week 14. So moving on to week 15, that's when I started to experience back pain. Now, up until this point, I've been working, and when I reached that point, I was like, all right, I need to start wearing a back brace. So my coworker was very nice. She ended up giving me one of her back braces, and I started to use that. But I noticed that even when I was washing the dishes, it was really painful to do that. Like, my back was just hurting. And then my sleep started to get kind of bad. So I was like, all right, for Christmas, I need to go ahead and get me a pregnancy pillow because I just could not get comfortable in the bed. It wasn't that my mind was racing and I couldn't sleep. It was just uncomfortable. And then I noticed that the diarrhea that I was experiencing on and off, I had none that week. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I don't have diarrhea anymore. That's fine. Then we move on to week 16, and that was super special because that's when I started to feel like I could feel things. Like, I couldn't say I felt kicks, but I felt things And people like would explain flutters as like a tickly feeling, or I don't know. To me, it didn't feel like that. To me, it felt like bubbles or something. Like it was gas, but I wasn't sure if it was gas, but I was feeling things. So that was week 16. And then I traded my diarrhea for constipation. And that's still something that I'm dealing with now. I'm going to start having to add more fiber into my diet. But I was struggling to go. It was like I knew I had to go, but it wasn't trying to come out. So that was week 16. And then my back pain decreased while I was working. I haven't been washing dishes since then. My husband's been very helpful when it comes to that. But as far as being at work, I find that I was wearing my back brace less when I hit week 16. And I'm 18 weeks and I'm still at the place where my back is better while I'm working. Week 17 is basically the same as week 16. The only difference is I actually felt her first. I said her. I didn't even go through the extra stuff yet. I was going to get to my appointments after. But I felt the first kicks from the baby week 17. It was like no denying it. It was a kick. And I even felt it like with laying my hand on my stomach. My husband felt it. I was like, yo, there's no denying it now. Like, I didn't really know what it was last week, but this week is a legit kick. And ever since then, I've been feeling kicks every day. They've been getting stronger and stronger. So, praise God. Praise you, Jesus. All throughout the first trimester, y'all, I was in this book reciting scriptures, getting my faith up. Anytime that I just had doubts or like fear that I was going to miscarry, I dove into this book, and it really just helped me to get my faith up and to just be positive, think positive, speak positive words. So once again, y'all need to pick this up. Supernatural childbirth, it'll change your life. So now that I've gone through all of my symptoms for the first 4 months, I wanted to talk about the different doctor's appointments, in short, that I had during those specific weeks. So my first appointment, I was 7 weeks, 3 days, according to them. But I was measuring at 7 weeks, 1 day. Or no, I was 7 weeks, 4 days, according to them. But I was measuring. I'm 3 days behind of what they're saying my due date is. I'm measuring 3 days behind. So anyway, that's when I had my first appointment. So my first doctor's appointment, that consisted of me getting a pap smear, a lot of blood work drawn, and I had my first ultrasound. So I'll see if I can insert a little short clip of that appointment, but we got to see the baby for the first time. 7 weeks, 1 day, according to me. And I got these 2 little pictures of the baby. So yeah, I was 7 weeks, 4 days, and baby was measuring 7 weeks, 1 day. We got to see the heartbeat. We couldn't hear the heartbeat, but we could see it. Yes, I see it.
What is it?
I'll show you. Just get this heartbeat. 145 beats per minute, which is good.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, see here?
Yes.
See it flickering?
Yes.
That's the heart.
You saw it, Josh?
Yeah, it's just one, right?
Yeah, so that's all you care about. Like, don't tell me there's 2.
So that was amazing. The OBGYN that I'm seeing, they do their appointments every 4 weeks. So my next appointment was at 11 weeks. And, oh, this just reminds me, I left something out. Week 10 of my pregnancy, I told y'all that my stomach started to get hard and I got the dark line on my stomach. But also that week, I fainted, okay? I took a long, hot shower. I was washing my hair, and I fainted. I didn't faint in the shower because I knew that I was about to faint, so I hurried up and, like, got out the shower, but then I fell on the floor. And so, yeah, I had a dizzy spell. So when I went into my 11-week appointment, I had to get more blood drawn, but they also wanted to check the baby's heartbeat to make sure that nothing was wrong with the baby. So I got to hear the heartbeat on the fetal Doppler. So I will insert a clip of that, and thank you, Jesus, the baby was fine despite my fall, and I was just told to just stay hydrated, keep drinking water. So, yes, that was week 11. We heard the Doppler. I'll see if I can insert a clip.
There's our baby.
So is that a good sign?
That's an excellent sign.
Moving on, they wanted to give me another ultrasound. So typically you're only supposed to have 3 ultrasounds for your entire pregnancy, 1 for each trimester. But since I fainted at week 10, even though they checked the heartbeat on the Doppler at week 11, they still wanted me to get an ultrasound just to make sure that everything was okay. So week 13 is when I went in and had an ultrasound done. I will try to insert a clip of that. And so yeah, that was my week 13 ultrasound appointment. The baby looked so different from the first ultrasound, which was like just a tiny little blob. Now the baby actually looks like a baby. So I was like just freaking out the fact that I was able to see that.
161 beats per minute, which is good.
Oh wow. That's a
real
it's an
baby,
actual
right?
baby now.
Yes, it is. So this is the head up here and down to the rump.
Oh, they just kicked.
Yeah. Yes.
We got these ultrasound pictures. Look at my baby. Really looks like a baby. So yeah. Now, one thing that they discovered during that appointment was that on the ultrasound, inside of my uterus, they noticed something called an amniotic band. And pretty much the tech was just telling me that there's really nothing that causes it. It comes on its own. And also, it can go on its own. So there's nothing for me to worry about until there's something for me to worry about, is basically how she put it. And so immediately I was like, all right, now we're not about to do this. My pregnancy has been smooth thus far. I've been speaking over my baby like this is not about to happen. So pulled out my handy dandy book, started speaking over my body and my baby, rebuked that amniotic band. I was like, this will not be a problem, because basically if it didn't disappear, it could have wrapped around one of the baby's body parts and prevented that body part from growing and developing. So I was like, no, we're not going to have that. My baby's going to have all of their body parts. Everything's going to function the way that it should. And I'm not accepting that. And so I told my family, I have to thank them so much because they really prayed for me. They really helped to ease my mind. I was like, you know, sometimes my faith ain't all the way up there, but I know I have my family praying for me. And so, yeah, that's what happened at my ultrasound during week 13. When I went in for my appointment at 13 weeks to have the follow-up ultrasound because I fainted, they drew my blood and tested me for Down syndrome, tested the baby for Down syndrome. And one of the things that came with that test was I was able to find out the gender of the baby. So I had that blood work done week 13. And then I had my gender reveal the weekend before Christmas. So I was 15 weeks and some change. And I had a small gender reveal, and I'll post a little clip of that. But that's when we found out that we were having a baby girl. And I asked God for a girl before we conceived and actually got pregnant. And that's in the book too. I asked God for what I wanted. I wanted a daughter. And I talked to my husband about it. And obviously, I feel like most men want a son for their first child. But before we even talked about having or starting a family, my husband had a dream that we had a baby in the bed with us, in between us, and then we had a little girl who was a little older than the baby in the bed. And she came up to him and she was trying to get into our bed. So he already kind of like figured we was going to have a girl. So when I said that I wanted a girl first, he was like, I feel like that's what we're going to get anyway. But yeah, I asked God for a daughter, and turns out we are having a girl. So God is amazing. I'm having my daughter, and I found out week 15. Because they saw that amniotic band during week 13, they wanted me to follow up and get another ultrasound, y'all. So now I'm at 3 ultrasounds, and I'm just hitting basically the second trimester. I'm like, oh my gosh, they trying to run my insurance up. But at the same time, I was just thankful to be able to have more opportunities to see my baby grow and develop. So week 16, I was 16 weeks and 6 days. So, or no, I was 17 weeks exactly. New Year's Day, January 31st, or New Year's Eve, January 31st. That's when I had my next appointment. I was 17 weeks on the dot. And that's when I had my 3rd ultrasound. That was to follow up on the amniotic band, just to see if it was still there or if it had disappeared. And to God be the glory, it disappeared. They did not see anything wrong with the baby. They did not find a band, and everything was good. So God is so good. He answers prayers. The band is gone. Baby is healthy. These are the pictures. That's supposedly a foot down there. This is the baby from the side. So now we can see the spine. And she was literally standing up, stomping on my bladder. And then these are some awkward pictures of her like looking straight at us. So yeah, this was week 17. I was 17 weeks on the dot. According to them, 17 weeks, 3 days. Once again, they claim I'm 3 days ahead, but to me, I was 17 weeks on the dot.
She's still so low. But I feel like my stomach is much bigger.
So
though.
she's up all the way up to, let's see, maybe right here.
Okay.
She's in there awkwardly. She laying in there like
Yeah,
she's
it looks
standing.
so
It looks like she's
weird.
standing in there. I hope she turns for your anatomy scan. Look at her face.
Oh, snap, that's crazy.
Wow. Oh my gosh, it's so weird.
My baby cute.
It was just beautiful to be able to see her moving and stomping. And I could not feel her that day. But as I told you, week 17 is when I started to feel her kick. It was the very next day, 17 weeks, 1 day. I felt her kick for the first time. So it was the day after that appointment, which was so sweet. Just getting the good news and then starting out the new year and the first day of the year, I feel her kick. So I was just so happy. I was so thankful, so grateful that everything is going good and smooth. And yeah, one thing that I need to add for all of the weeks that somehow I missed, and you probably can tell, shortness of breath. Like, I was just out of breath. I am just out of breath. This entire pregnancy, it's like I feel like I'm running a marathon all the time. And although I really didn't say it too much, I really have been tired. I just find myself just more fatigued every day. That's not something that just like came and went. It was here 1 week, gone another week. I have less energy, especially when I come home from work. I just want to lay down and sleep. So, yeah. So, yeah, that concludes these last 4 months of pregnancy. And it's really been smooth. Like, God is so good. I'm just so thankful to be able to say, that I've had a really pleasurable experience so far. I'm 18 weeks now. So the next video will be a 18 to 22 or 21 week update. So month 5, basically. I'm in month 5 now. And I'm going to try to do them every month up until I have the baby. And so, yeah, stay on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it wasn't too extremely long. The next ones will be a lot shorter, but I just had to hurry up and get caught up. And wasn't nobody splitting this up into a bunch of videos. So, it is what it is. I'm going to get my life together after this. I guess I can show you what my belly looks like before I end this. I am 18 weeks. And that is the belly. That is the baby bump. Here's from the front. That's my belly ring. I'll show y'all. From the side. And she has been kicking. I think I'm hungry, so I need to go ahead and eat. And then let me show you the other side. So yeah, that's the belly. And whew, we're moving right along. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know what else y'all want to see. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.